Kilo, is this ever gonna be a day missing from class without a laugh? A day in Mr. Wilson's class without a laugh?
Yeah.
No, there's no day out of having. Wow. It's true.
Alright guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but we finished the front page, is that right?
Yeah. It's hot in here.
Good job.
We didn't finish it. Alright, now the video wants to watch for about 5 minutes. It's about our lesson today. It's actually pretty good. It's a little gross at some points. We'll do a set. So, if you don't like that, just grab the door.
They didn't believe in
Let's watch.
Shiploads of businessmen and true believers
Let's talk.
crossing the Atlantic Ocean to create a new world. May 1610, 120 years after Columbus, it's still a perilous journey. One ship, the Deliverance, carries a cargo that will change America forever. On board is John Rolfe, a 24-year-old English farmer, ambitious, self-reliant, visionary, a born entrepreneur. What takes us 6 hours today by plane was then a voyage of more than 2 months. 7 of the early adventurers out of every 10 will be dead within a year. But the risks are worth it. North America is the ultimate land of opportunity. A continent of vast, untapped wealth. Starting with the most valuable resource of all, land. What will be home to more than 300 million people lies under a blanket of forest covering nearly half the land. More than 50 billion trees. Further west, 9 million square miles of vast American wilderness. 60 million bison roam the plains. And underground, there are rumors of gems, silver, and the largest seams of gold in the world. The settlers expect nothing less than El Dorado. But what Rolfe finds at the English settlement of Jamestown is hell on earth. More than 500 settlers made the journey before Rolfe.
Hello? Hello?
Barely 60 remain. It's called the starving time.
Having fed on horses and other animals, we ate boots, shoes, and any other leather we came across.
3 months before Rolfe arrives, a man is burned at the stake for killing his pregnant wife and planning to eat her.
Tell me. The question is, was the baby an appetizer or dessert?
The English arrive unprepared for this new world and unwilling to perform manual labor. Instead of livestock, they brought chemical tests for gold that they never find. And this is not their land. They built Jamestown in the middle of a Native American empire. 60 starving settlers among 20,000 of the Powhatan Nation, armed with bows and arrows that are up to 9 times faster to reload and fire than an English musket. They're soon enemies. Only 1 in 10 of the original settlers is left. John Rolfe didn't come to plunder and leave like the others. He's got his own plan. There's money in tobacco, and England is addicted. He's arrived with a supply of South American tobacco seeds, but growing it is limited to the Spanish colonies. The Spanish control the worldwide trade. Selling tobacco seeds to foreigners is punishable by death. But John Rolfe has got his hands on some. No one knows how. And in the warm, humid climate and fertile soil around the Chesapeake Bay, Rolfe's tobacco crop flourishes. The first large harvest produced by these seeds is worth more than $1 million in today's money.
The great strength of America is our people. If you want to know what is the defining strength of America, it is our people, our immigrant tradition, our bringing in cultures from all over the world.
I know what goes into making success, and when somebody's really successful, it's rarely luck. It's talent, it's brain power, it's lots of other things.
Rolfe marries the daughter of the king of the Powhatan Empire. Her name becomes legend, Pocahontas. In England, Rolfe makes her a celebrity when her face is put on a portrait that sells all over London, advertising life in the New World. Shakespeare mentions the colony. England's rich invest money here. All of London knows about this land of plenty. Within 2 years, tobacco grows in every garden. From a living hell, Jamestown is America's first boom town. Two years later, nearly 1,000 more settlers arrived, including 19 from West Africa. Slaves. But some go on to own their own land in Virginia.
12 years after the founding of Jamestown, Africans were playing a shaping role in the creation of the colonies. That's pretty incredible.
30 years later, there are over 20,000 settlers in Virginia. America is founded on tobacco. For the next century and a half, it's the continent's largest exporter.
All right, we'll stop there. Pick up our notes. Okay, so we have our notes out. Let's talk about Jamestown. I didn't tell you in the movie. We want to take a guess on why they named it Jamestown. Good guess. It was a guy named James. I like that. You're actually about 75% correct. Can you be more specific? What guy? Got it. King of what? King of England. Yes. Today, we are seeing the celebration of life in England for who? Queen Elizabeth II, right? She passed away. She was queen for over 70 years. All of my life, I've never heard of England having a king. Well, now they're having one. King Charles III. Third. The third is now going to be king. So, but England had a king at the time called James, King James. Okay? So when they came over here, they're going to create a settlement, and this is going to be the first permanent settlement. In the video, it looked like it was going to make it. No, they were starving, and one dude was ready to cook up his wife and his baby. I know I got a little gross on you about that whole appetizer dessert. I didn't mean to offend you, okay? Just kind of a little fun, okay? Obviously, that's gross, that's disgusting, we don't want that happening. But Jamestown's gonna be our first permanent settlement, and that's why that poster is right there. It's to really, really help us understand that. It's always gonna stay there because it's that important to this class, to this country, and so forth. Now, where they put Jamestown and all that is what I'm gonna tell you right now. They put it on a small peninsula. What's a peninsula? Show me your prior knowledge of geography. Raise your hand. With water, good job. Piece of land surrounded with water on 3 sides. Best example in the United States is Florida, okay? So water on 3 sides. Italy's an example, India's an example, and so forth, okay? And you can even have small peninsulas, like where Jamestown's gonna be. Now, I gotta show you on this map. It's gonna be hard to see where you're sitting, I get it, okay? But this area that we're talking about is the Chesapeake Bay. I don't really wanna change maps, but right here, where Virginia and Washington DC and all that, that is the Chesapeake Bay. It's big, it's huge, okay? They sail right in there, and then there's a bunch of rivers that dump into the bay. Well, they're gonna go to the bottom one and sail up it. They actually named that river in honor of their king as well. What do you think they call this river? The James River. Yeah, history's so easy. And they found a little chunk of land that was like a peninsula, and they put boats on both sides. Why did they do that? If someone would attack, they could get away either side, right? Makes sense? Good. So, they're gonna build this little settlement. Now, you saw in the video, it's more like a fort, right? They did that back then. It wasn't like Commercial Point where we got 5 pizza places and 2 gas stations and 1 bank and a Subway that went out of business or whatever, okay? So, which I miss. But obviously, they built like a little fort, okay? They cut trees down, they dug a trench, they stacked them up there like a wall and covered dirt, okay? So obviously this was to protect them. Well, there are 5 drawbacks to why they chose this spot. And they didn't mean to do it on purpose. They thought they were being smart. They thought, we'll put it off the beaten path a little bit, but then they found out they made it too hard to find. Okay? You and I, we have our phones. We have maps. We have directions. Okay? Back then, these poor people did not. Okay, so it's a poor location, hard to find. It goes all in that first blanket. I'm sorry, but it does. You gotta squeeze it in there. Apologize for that. But as you get older and you start to drive, you guys are gonna use your phones a lot on getting you from place to place. I have too. You know, it's funny, my daughter and I, oldest daughter and I got in a fight the other day. When she started driving, I'm like, you need to start learning the road names. And my dad made me learn the road names around here. She's like, why? I got my phone to tell me what they are. I'm like, yeah, good point. You know, I was trying to think back. I didn't have a phone to tell me what the road names are. You know, but I can tell you road names around here, and you're probably like, where's that at? But if you drove it, you would know it, right? So it's one of those things that, you know, they put them in a bad spot. This past summer, I went on a small trip with a group down in Kentucky. I'm talking deep in Kentucky, where there was no cell phone service. We were going on this little lake, okay? And I didn't know how to get there, and the guy who'd been there before wasn't going with us. He said, hey, go make a left, make a right, go over this hill, down through this stone bridge, and then make another right, and then a quick left, and over this, back through this dip. I'm like, whoa, what? I said, just give me the address. He goes, your phone won't be able to show you. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I had to like write it down to memorize where we were going because I just didn't get it all. I mean, that's sad, but it happens, okay? So poor location, it's not like they had a sign put in the Atlantic Ocean that says Jamestown, 10 more miles this way. That's not happening either, okay? Number 2, poor soil. You're probably like, Youngkin, it's not poor soil. They said it was good soil. Well, let me explain. It is poor soil when it comes to growing crops for food. For food. For example, up here in Ohio, do we grow all types of food up here in Ohio? Yes or no? No. We do not have orange trees up here in Ohio. We don't have citrus fruits because we have frosts that kill these things, okay? We don't have those types of things. You can't always grow all the things you want in certain parts of the country. For For example, I always laugh at Southern farmers. Don't be mad at me if you have family with Southern farmers. They try to grow corn down there and it's stupid looking. It looks like crap, okay? Their ears are like this big, okay? But they try to grow it. Their soil's not good for it, okay? Up here in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, that's the corn belt. That's what we call it. That's where they grow corn because they can grow it. We can't grow tobacco up here in Ohio. We don't have the right soil. They do. Virginia has very silky, fertile soil, but 90% of the soil is usually kind of wet, or I'm going to use this word that 8th graders hate, moist. All right? And it's perfect for tobacco. It's not good for corn, wheat. Oh my gosh, people. Corn, wheat,
The
and
King
so
of England
forth.
died now?
Okay? Everybody understand it? Okay? Like when he dug into the soil, you know how it kind of stayed chunky? That tells you right there it's wet. It's moist. Okay? It didn't fall apart and dry up like it does here in the soil after it's been dry for a while. Okay? Number 3, health. Well, if you have wet soil, that means you got water ponding. That means you get some insects that are breeding and habitating. And that is, ready? Mosquitoes. Yeah, gross, I know. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes carry diseases. In the area that they chose to put Jamestown was a prime, perfect spot for mosquitoes. Now you understand when you smack a mosquito on your arm and you kill it, that blood is not necessarily from that mosquito. That is another human's blood, an animal's blood, or a dead animal's blood, and that's on your arm. Yummy. All right, and they've been trying to hook you. So that's not good. That's where you can get West Nile or malaria. So you gotta be really cautious about mosquitoes. Don't just be like, oh, dude, suck all the blood you want, little dude. No, that's not good. Okay? Kill them. That's me. Now, these 3 happen to be talking about the location. These last 2 are about the people. Well, the people that came over here, only half of them wanted to work. The other half thought, well, I don't need to work, you'll do it for me. Now, how many in this room would be okay if mom and dad did all the work and you just got to lay around the house? I get you. How many in this room were told you have certain chores you have to do in the house throughout the week? I got told by my wife. Yeah. All right. What are some of those chores? Take the trash out, clean your room, take the laundry down, clean the dishes, mow the yard, right? Maybe, I don't know. Watch the dog. Who knows? Take the dog out, clean the dog doo-doo up, whatever. Okay? Well, some people didn't want to work because they wanted to do what instead? You heard the video. Look for gold. They wanted to try to get rich quick. They thought, I don't need to help plant food. I don't need to help take care of this. I don't need to. I'm looking for gold because once I hit gold, I'm rich. Well, if you don't find gold, then what's mine? You're not going to be rich, and you're going to be hungry. You're going to be hungry. So these are the 5 major drawbacks to Jamestown. Now, hold on. Does Jamestown make it? Yes or no? Yes, you saw the video. But at first, it looks like another Roanoke situation. Right? Looks like they ain't going to make it. Well, how did Jamestown even get started? The video didn't tell you this part. Well, this sexy guy, he is the one that got Jamestown started. And yes, it's true. There was a John Smith. And that is the Disney version of John Smith with his sexy blonde hair. Now, they have him marrying Pocahontas. But no, we know another guy named John comes a little later and he marries Pocahontas. So Disney either messed it up on purpose and tried to play it off, or they didn't understand history very well, or they thought little kids couldn't say Roth very well, so they changed it to John Smith. But there was a John Smith. He's the one that got it started. Now, he had to be the mean dad and make a rule and said, look, guys, stop looking for gold. If you don't help us grow food, then guess what? You're not going to get to eat the food. So no work, no food. Now, is that a little harsh? Well, I mean, come on. I mean, let's think about it this way, okay? Zane, he runs around, does whatever he wants, and we all bust our butt, and we cook, and we clean, we take care of the house and so forth. But is it right for him to come in and get to eat the food? Why? Because he didn't do anything. But do we want him to die? No. But how do you teach him a lesson? Well, John was getting to the point he was getting so mad at everybody, he's like, look, I'm gonna make it real simple. If you don't help us, you don't get to eat our food. You gotta find your own food in your own way. And he had to be that extreme. Parents do that to you guys, not food-wise, hopefully. They say, hey, you wanna go to her house or his house? You gotta do what? Clean your room up. You want your friends to come over? Get this house clean. Get your room clean. Pick up your shoes. All right? Come on. Okay, just make sure I wasn't the only parent doing that. Okay, so I tell Kenzie today, we have to do it too. Okay? Main reason why they're doing this was because of starving time. You saw it on video. Okay? Sellers were not wanting to help out. They were wanting to find gold like we talked about. This is not good. So out of the 500 passengers that were originally came the first trip with John Smith, how many are left did the movie say? 60. Good job. Only 60 people left. That's after the one dude cooked his wife up. Okay? So finally, some good news happens. This guy shows up. John Rolfe. Yay! Now, ladies, which one would you date? Well, Mimi was like, neither one, Mr. Youngin. The one in the video was a lot cuter. I said, okay, Mimi. She's like, he's got to come on. She was like, he's brunette or sexier. I said, okay. So John Rolfe brought over tobacco seeds, wasn't supposed to, right? Because the Spanish kind of just cornered that market. And then he's going to show up, he's going to start playing tobacco, and the next thing you know, tobacco, a crop with lots of money, is going to save the colony of Jamestown. Tobacco saved Jamestown.
So they like ate tobacco?
No, you didn't eat it. That's a good question. I'm glad you said that. They grew other crops, but because they had a reliable, valuable trading bargaining chip, they were able to get other things to help them. Does that make sense? You just didn't. They traded the tobacco for all the goods they needed, yes. Because you gotta have something valuable. If you don't have anything valuable, no one will trade you. Okay, so tobacco saves the colony, and now Jamestown starts to trade with England. That's why I put it separate like this so you have to understand. Now, what's tobacco used for? Chewing it and smoking it. Let's just be honest. And we ain't talking about marijuana, okay? We ain't talking about that. We're talking about tobacco. Tobacco obviously was a product back then. People got addicted to the nicotine. Tobacco's in cigarettes today. Tobacco's in skull cans, dip cans, okay? I had a great uncle who was a big time red man chewing tobacco, okay? I always thought it was gross, but he had this big old wad bag that basically had ground up chewing tobacco in it. It was like all like wet, and he just pulled his lip out, put it in his lip, and sucked on it and spit all the time. And juices running down his face. It was gross, okay? My mom made sure I hung out with him every now and then because she's like, that's disgusting. Hopefully that will teach me not to do it. And it did, okay? To a point. I'll stop there. Anyways, but obviously there are some people who still do it. In health class, did you see that picture of that guy that lost his whole jaw? Yeah, because he was dipping, and that was removed, and now he has to eat from a blender because he has no teeth to chew up food. Yeah, it's messed up. So it's ironic. Here's a plant, tobacco, that saved and got us going as a country, and now what are we trying to do to it today? Get rid of it because it's one of the causes to what?
Cancer.
Cancer. It's one of the causes of cancer, smoking and all that. So it's kind of ironic. You have to look at that. You got to think that way. We good on this? All right, move on. Now, before you write, please look at me. Please look at me, please. This next part is not hard. The same law I've said, Mr. Young can get your kids, you guys, you students, sorry, not kids, to tell me how and why would the Indians and Europeans want to talk? Why would they want to talk to each other? Well, there's 4 reasons. Number 1's trade. And these are the 4 things they traded mostly, so that's what goes afterwards. Furs, crops, spices, animals. Europeans were all about the Native American furs. They want to trade in big time. But get this, the natives were all about the Europeans' animals, especially these ones that were really tall, you could ride on, and they go, yes, that's a horse. Good job. Did you have that toy back in the day where you pull a string and McDonald's farm went around and landed on a certain animal and it did the noise? I remember that toy. Anybody remember that toy? You still have that toy? You're gonna play with that tonight, aren't you? Alright, so trading's one thing. Next, agricultural practice, aka farming tips. You saw a few weeks ago what the pilgrims do with what the Indians do to the pilgrims. What they put on their seed. A fish, a dead fish for it to decompose so those roots go poof, grow. Well, let's get, and then obviously manure, taking the doo-doo and putting it with the crops and planting. On our farm, about every other weekend, we gotta clean the barn out with all the pig poo-doo, doo-doo, and we put it out in the fields. I'll just tell you, that's how it goes. Cultural exchanges. After you write cultural exchanges, please put your pencil down, because I want to have fun with this one. Ready? How do you say hello without saying hello?
Hi.
What's up?
Wait.
Okay? How you say goodbye?
Wave.
Now, if you're an Indian, aren't you confused? Are you saying hello or goodbye? You have a point? Okay. You watch sporting events, and the broadcasters are talking like college game day, right? And everybody's in the background with posters and so forth, and a lot of people are doing this. Yeah, we're number one. Yeah, baby, yeah. What's this mean? We're number one. Absolutely. You think an Indian understands what that means? No. Okay? Soon you're going to be driving. Okay? And either someone's going to pull in front of you or you're going to pull in front of them, and they might give you the other number one. Like, hey, you rock, buddy. What's that mean? Don't say it. Forget you. Exactly. You think anyone knows what that means? How many of you were either taught or taught a younger sibling to do that?
I got taught.
Your sister would teach you that. Yeah, your sister and brothers would definitely teach you that.
My brother.
Yeah. Yeah. They thought it was funny because you were probably going around going, yeah.
Well, my brother tried to hide it from
Oh
me.
yeah. Oh yeah. I got in trouble with my wife because I was making my kids do it. She's like, that's like an adult. I'm like, okay. So obviously that's inappropriate. You shouldn't do those things. But we laugh. We're like, ah! And then they go, Mommy, Daddy, wham! And you're like, oh, that's awesome. Okay, that's bad, and we know it is, okay? But the Indians didn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Like in Tecumseh, they were, don't get all excited, I brought him up. They making fun of the guy planting corn at midnight, right? He's like, oh, it's corn grow tall and at midnight moon. No, it's a joke. So that told you right there that, you know, they wanted to learn about each other's ways. Like, Indians didn't handwrite, we handwrite. Right? We have letters, we have books. Indians didn't have that. Indians are doing, you know, spiritual rain dances. Like you saw at Tecumseh, right? Okay? We saw there, and we're like, what are they doing? You know? Well, they're wanting rain to come. Okay, they're doing a rain dance, whatever it may be. So, you know, there's different practices, there's different things. Like in some countries, you know, you don't shake with your right hand. It's disrespectful. You shake with your left. Because in some countries they believe, in some cultures, believe that your right hand's only used for what?
Fighting.
To clean yourself. You get what I mean by clean yourself? Like toilet paper? Yeah. So why would you shake your hand with the hand that you wipe your crack with?
What if you're left-handed?
Well then, you're supposed to wipe with your right hand, even though you're left-handed. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So understand that people need to know these things because you don't understand. You know, when our soldiers went over to Middle East and so forth, they had to be trained. You know, don't do that. Don't be disrespectful. All right, and that's hard. It's very hard to understand. I get it. But you think you're being nice by going, hey, how's it going? That's disrespectful. Okay? So even marriages, you know, different practices and how you get married. You know, some people just go to county judge to get married. Some people have big old fancy weddings. I'm still paying for my big old fancy wedding that I had 20-some years ago. Okay, so it's like, woo, me, yeah. Right? So, cultural exchanges. Last one's diseases. Indians were like, why does my buddy have red spots on his body? Well, he's dying of smallpox. And then he's going to die. Sucks for him, right? Whatever. So obviously they're going to communicate because they want to know what's happening to each other. So these are the four main ways why Europeans and Indians would want to talk. Besides the common things like if a French dude saw a beautiful Native American woman, hey, you want to hook up, that thing. But other than that, these were the four mains that they talked. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay, this was not hard, all right? Talk about this, treaties, okay, treaties, last couple things. Treaties were very important and always have been important, okay? Treaties solved many problems between natives and Europeans. Treaties were usually over land acquisitions. Do me a favor, after you write Indian, circle land. What are acquisitions? Acquisitions is basically saying, we're acquiring your land. We're going to take your land. We want to buy your land. We're going to exchange for your land. Okay? That's what acquisition refers to. All right? Indians are going to lose a lot of their land, but here's what Europeans think. If I give you a bunch of stuff, so, Paxton, I'm going to give you this bag. Okay? I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you what's in it. Okay? But I'll tell you there's some good stuff in here. I'm going to give you this bag. You give me your house. You going to take it? Sweet, because he just got $4 million that was in there.
Mr.
Okay?
Beast.
My bad, he expected the face. Okay? And I got his house. Okay? But what was if there was nothing in here? Like,
Then you got
there is. There's
over.
nothing in here but paper. It's actually basketball players, so you wouldn't want that. Okay? So obviously, he would get robbed.
Yeah.
Here's the point. Let's say he took the deal. Now I got to convince him that you have to leave. You just gave me all your land for that bag, now go. He's like, and he sits down. No, you gotta go. And sits down. No, you gotta go. Indians didn't understand. Indians didn't understand that you were actually giving them something for their land. The land is what they respected and owned and cared for, and now you're trying to take something away from them that means so much to them. A few years back, the state of Ohio come knocking on my family's door. They said, look, we're gonna take your land. What? We're gonna widen the road, we're gonna take your land. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna have to suck it up and like it. We're like, no. So we had to go to court. We had to fight for a fair price. Luckily, we settled before we had to go to court, but I hated selling our land, but we lost about 7 acres. We're going to widen the road to make the road bigger and better and safer for people, which I don't want to stop safety. But on the other hand, I don't want to lose my farmland that we've had in our family since 1886. So it stinks, right? So it can happen. Well, I get it. I know what these Indians went through because they don't want to lose their land because it means so much to them. Okay, so please, on tomorrow's little quiz, remember, land is very important for the Indians. Last thing, and we're done. The triangular trade route, which is kind of cool. Okay. First answer should be 3 at the top of that part, right? 3. All right. So it says these are trade routes between 3 countries or continents. Start over here with North America and West Indies. What would happen is they're going to cut down trees, like raw goods, cut down these trees and make lumber out of them. Cut them up into boards. They're going to take all these boards and they're going to stack them on a boat. Okay? Stack them in the bottom of this boat, fill the boat up, and then this boat is going to sail somewhere. Where do you think it's sailing? All the way to Europe. No, they got them from the New World. See, North America, they got them from here. They're going to load them on a boat and sail to Europe. Okay? So the next answer is Europe. They're going to unload those raw goods like the lumber, and they're going to turn the lumber into what? Did you say food? Boats. Okay, they could make more boats. What else? Furniture. What else?
Houses.
Houses. Yeah, exactly. Anything out of wood. Doors. Whatever. Okay. All right. So that's cool. Now, we're gonna take some of these finished goods and throw them back in this boat, about maybe half or a quarter full of the boat. And this boat's gonna sail from Europe down to where, do you think? Africa, to get what? Slaves. You got it. Then they're gonna load their boat up with slaves, with some of the finished goods. They might have given some of the finished goods to the slave owners. And then they're gonna turn around, and where's the boat gonna go? Back to America. And guess what shape we just made? Make it up here. Okay? Triangle. And this is called a triangle trigger. Now you're looking for the last blue word. That's what goes there. Triangle. It's not blue. A triangular shape. Okay? Is everybody saying? Now, here's what I'd like for you to do before we're out of here. Get a piece of scrap paper or go see Walmart, and I'll tell you what we do.
Taylor, give me some too. You're too lazy to share out.
Not leaving yet. Okay. Everybody get a piece of scrap paper, and this is for you guys. I don't really want you to throw it away, but if you have to, or you don't want to keep it, that's fine. This is to help you. Now, what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to draw a big old triangle on your paper here, like what I'm doing back here. Just draw a big old triangle. Okay, and so every triangle I get. Okay? Take one of those points. Okay? And what do you think one of those points is?
North America.
North America, I like it. So you write North America, I'm just gonna put NA for North America, but you write North America there. Okay, one of those corners. Okay? And what kind of goods were we getting from North America?
Lumber.
Raw goods, right? R-A-W goods, raw goods, right? Such as what? Lumber, timber, trees. I'm good with that. Okay? So you write trees there for lumber. Where are we sending this to?
Europe.
We're sending it to Europe. What are we gonna do to that? Lumber. We're gonna turn it into finished goods. Such as furniture. Okay? Then we'll load the boat up with finished goods, and then where we're going? Back to North America?
Africa.
We're going down into Africa to get
Slaves.
slaves. What we're going to do then?
Bring the slaves back here.
Go back to North America with slaves and finished goods on what passage? Middle passage. And it starts all over again. State of Ohio and Taze Valley and myself say, guys, you got to be able to tell me that tomorrow. You can draw exactly that, and that's all I care about. Is that hard? No. It's not hard. What's this called, though? Triangular trade routes. You got it.
Bro.
All right? Anybody? Questions? All right. That being said, we got about 2 minutes before I let you out. We'll talk Riley until then.
tried.